everybody. Nathan Hall here. Today's lesson, it's on cellular reproduction. That's a very tiny phenomenon that you cannot see without a very big microscope, yet you can see the results of it. So let's get started here. I have a whole bunch of really fancy high-level words that we're not going to worry too much about, because this is how, when I said you can see the results, this is what I was talking about. Cellular reproduction is the reason we go from being a baby to a toddler all the way up to an adult. Why do we make those changes? We form new cells. Why do we stop at a certain point? Information in the cells. Why is it after a certain point we start getting older? Little mistakes in the cells. So that's what all this will come down to. Cells, how they grow and reproduce. We'll look at the life cycle of the cell, and we'll look at a lot of words that were going to show up in your Keystone biology test. In fact, specifically, here are some of the words. Organism, multicellular, unicellular, chromosome, DNA, molecule, genetic, nucleus, and specialized. We did some of these before. I just want to give a review so everyone knows what these are. So you're probably bigger this year than you were last year. I'm not. I stopped growing a long time ago. That's one thing about being a living thing. You do grow to a certain point. Rocks don't grow. They just get smaller through erosion. So cells grow. They divide. They become new cells. So it happens in all living things. Little unicellular, like the little germs, they divide up their cells. One little unicellular germ becomes two. One rhodobacteria, two. One amoeba, which looks like a big clear see-through egg, to two. You, however, are multicellular. All of you are. I sure am. So our cells have to reproduce and become something new and try to repair. So each one of your cells contains something like this. It's called a double helix shape. Kind of looks like a ladder. All of these in between is the information for a new you. How tall you'll be, how big your eyes will be, and what color they'll be. All of that's in there. So that's in the DNA molecules. Molecules, tiniest part of a thing that is still that thing. So a few questions. Bonobo apes and humans, this guy and us, we have 98.7% the same DNA. Okay, we have a lot in common with those guys. That'll be one of your questions. Got a picture here. Bananas. Believe it or not, we have about 50% the same DNA. What do we have in common? So this one we kind of looked at before. The fact you get your DNA from your parents. That's why you have some trace from your mom, some trace from your dad. So where it comes from, this is what you guys have. Eukaryote cells, part of something bigger. It's kept in the nucleus. So the nucleus would be like the yolk in an egg. In fact, that's exactly what an egg's yolk is. It's a nucleus in an egg cell, basically. So the DNA is expressed in structures called chromosomes that look like these X's. This will give you the information. Each organism has a certain number. Humans, we always have 46. If we have a little more or less, then we have problems. Some examples, have you ever been cut? Those were your red blood cells coming out. If you have a scar, escarla, that was new cells replacing the old ones. Why do you need haircuts? Your hair cells are growing out more. So how through cell division, one cell becomes two cells. Two cells are four, and so on. That's why you're so much bigger now than you were as a baby. Your cells sure grew a lot. Here's the phases for it. Geez, that's some weird Latin names. How am I ever going to remember that? It's okay, we'll look at that again in a minute. So why they divide? Multicellular organisms. It helps you grow, develop, and repair things. So large organism, we don't have larger cells. All our cells are always going to be the same size. And you're made up of about 100 trillion cells. And cell division is not the only process that happens. That's why our cells get specialized. Some cells become eye cells. Some cells become hair cells. Here's some of the questions that will show up in the homework. So some questions. Why does your skin heal faster than your brain? Why do you grow to a certain height and then stop? That's in your DNA right there. Why is it if you cut your hand, it'll heal with a scar, but if you cut off your finger, it won't? Hey, why not? So it comes to cellular division. Memorize one of these two phrases. I propose men are toads, or I picked my apples today. This just got weird, didn't it? There's a reason I said that. Look. I propose men are toads. I picked my apples today. IPMAT. Interphase, the cell starts to split. Prophase, you get these little fibers together. Metaphase, they form a little line. Anaphase, they come apart. Telophase, they break out. So all living things, they grow and they die. That includes your cells. And they reproduce. That's why they're new you. When you die, they're not reproducing anymore. They just start breaking down and falling apart. So keep them reproducing. So cellular respiration, the cell gives out the energy it needs. And let's go forward on this one. So basically, that's how you look at your way you look as a child and you change. The cells develop, they change. But here's one thing to look at. As you grow, new cells come. They mutate. They start to go bad. They get a little weaker. They're not as good. At best, this makes you get old. At worst, you can get cancer if they go real bad. And another example of this, if you get the flu, which I sure got a lot of this spring, it's basically a little cell that gets into your body, a little virus, little organism. It finds your cells. So I guess it isn't a cell, so it'll be part of something bigger. Goes in, takes them over, so it's like a zombie movie inside your body. So we looked at mitosis. That was the I proposed men are toads, or I picked my apples today. Quick rundown of that. Here's a chart of the life cycle of a cell. How much a cell spends most of its time doing. Basically spends most of the time doing its job before it reproduces. And one last review of these. So mnemonics, great way to help science, something to remember. You can remember the planets by my very educated mother served us nachos. Can't do it with Pluto anymore. Roy of York gave battle in vain. Richard of York gave battle in vain. Roy B. Give, the rainbow. Foil and math. So one more here. Cytokinesis, the last step when it divides and totally splits up. So basically, that's when we get this last one. It becomes something new. If this looks weird, remember you were once one cell, then two cells, doubling till you got to 100 trillion. So beyond that, we'll have some review questions. I'll put the PowerPoint up so you can read. No survey this time. So what's something we'll talk about in the live class? If you really would want to live, if you could live forever, would you want to? Yeah, if you control your cells, that could be the case. But that's all for now. This lesson is not going to live forever.